I didn't want to film this video. I didn't want to record. I didn't want to actually get myself kind of camera ready, even though I did not put on a lot of makeup to make this. But my point is that I made it easy for me to show up. I still made it easy for myself to actually get in front of the camera and hit record, because I know that I have a goal. And if I don't do the thing that I tell myself I'm going to do, one, I'm going to regret the opportunity that I had to get it done. And two, I am going to be behind on the plans that I have for this weekend. All that to say is you're probably making discipline and consistency so much harder for yourself than it needs to be. I used to do this all the time. My clients used to think this way all the time. And it wasn't until they learned these 3 things, which are heavily inspired by James Clear, Atomic Habits. I love that book. I will forever recommend that book to anyone who is struggling with starting new habits, actually changing their life, and starting to become the person who does what they say they're going to do. I think that we have this idea that it needs to be this just super hard, super disciplined, like no days off type of thing. But in reality, like as a Christian, we know that we don't need to be working all the time. And it's funny because I actually have a verse. It says that the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath, meaning that God created days for us to rest, time in our day to rest for a reason. So yes, should we honor the Sabbath, whether it's a Sunday or a Saturday or even on a Friday? Of course, but we need to remember that we don't abide by the world's rules when it comes to living our lives. As Christians, I personally believe that discipline and consistency looks a lot different depending on the season of life you're in. And I know that some people might have a problem with that, but it's okay. I speak mainly to moms, and moms are the ones who are making moms are making most of the decisions in the home, like what's for dinner, when does the laundry get done, all these things. And that's totally fine. If your house runs a different way, I'm not coming at you. I'm just saying the norm is the norm. And that's a good thing because God created it that way. But my point is that you're probably putting all this pressure on yourself, all this stress that doesn't need to be there. Your house does not need to be clean in one day. You don't need to be putting yourself under stress, your family under stress, your kids under stress, just so that you can have a Pinterest perfect looking home. And I actually read an article yesterday. I skimmed it. I didn't read the whole thing because I was in the middle of cooking dinner, but it was by Misty Winkler. She talked about imperfect housekeeping or homemaking is important. And that is so true. She spoke right to my soul, because personally, as a working mom, I do not expect my house to look 100% perfect. Sometimes there's dishes in the sink in the morning. Sometimes there's dishes when I'm done with work in the afternoon and I do them right before I get started on dinner. Sometimes the laundry piles up if I missed a day of whose laundry day it was. And I can breathe. I can live, because I don't let these just crazy, unrealistic expectations just kind of stay swirling in my brain. And I know you're probably thinking like, well, her house must be dirty then. No. And here's the thing. I don't care what you think. I don't care if you come to my home and you think that it needs to look a certain way. Does that mean I don't clean up and we get the house ready for whenever we have guests? Of course we do. I want to say, in your day-to-day, as a working mom, as a stay-at-home mom, wherever season of life you're in, you don't need to have all this pressure for things to be perfect, especially if you have little ones and toddlers. Like, they are in such a time of their lives where they're learning how to just live. Like, they're aware that they are human and they can do things. And so I personally believe it's a really great opportunity for you as a parent to actually instill healthy principles and values into them by taking care of their home. One thing that we say in our home is like, we are a team, we all live here, and therefore we will do our part in taking care and looking after our items, our home, like making sure we clean up after ourselves. And these things might be common sense, but we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught something new. And so, all that to say, I went on a tangent about your house as a mom, but you're probably thinking, well, I don't know how to stick to a cleaning routine because it always starts really well, but then I fall off after 3 days, and then I just feel like I keep starting and giving up. And I want to tell you that you need to make things easy, fun, and doable / manageable for yourself. Easy, meaning, okay, I'm only going to get 2 tasks done during the day or in the afternoon. Fun, I'm going to put on a candle, or I'm going to put on a fun playlist, or I'm going to make a fun drink. I like to make matchas sometimes right before I do the dishes if I'm really feeling like, ugh, I need to do something. Because one, I start doing the thing, I start making the fun drink, and then two, it actually puts me in the mood to like, okay, let me do this. That's to help you get started, by the way. I am now at a place, and my clients are now at a place where they don't rely on motivation or their feelings. They're just like, all right, this is what we do. We're going to go get it done, take care of it, and that's it. And doable/manageable, meaning that can this routine or this system in my home be repeatable? Can it become something that's automated? Automated meaning that it's just something that comes naturally to you. You just know when you need to do it, get it done, and it gets taken care of. And so I want you to think, how have you been managing your home? How have you been managing your habits? How have you been managing your time? And if you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know how to do anything, that's totally fine. I invite you to join Diligent Daughters Academy in October. Early enrollment opens in September, and you don't want to miss out on early bird pricing, special offers. And if you go join the waitlist now before September 4th, you'll get a free one-on-one coaching call for 60 minutes that you can use either before or during the program, but that's only going to last until September 4th. So don't miss out. Go join the waitlist today that I have coming up. So go join that. The link is in the description below. But again, I want you to think about, if you've been making things harder for yourself, how can you simplify it? And like, if you have to simplify even the simplification, like make it even easier, start there, because you are slowly learning, oh, I like that my home is peaceful. I like that my home is actually not causing me as much stress as it used to. And one thing I want to say with that is, you need to embrace the season of life you're in. I think it's so easy to look at people who don't have the same situation as us. And I used to do this all the time as a single mom. I would compare my life sometimes to those who are married. But then thankfully, I realized they're married. They have a whole nother person, adult person in their home who is helping them. So their standard of discipline and consistency and homemaking is going to look a lot different from mine. I need to find what works best for me. And I think that's what's been my favorite part about Diligent Daughters Academy. I made it super personalized in the way where it's not just cookie cutter, like follow this plan, follow this routine, stick to this and you'll be fine. It's like, no, how do we work with the situation you're currently in so that it's something that you can repeat? And what's funny is that a lot of women already know what to do. It's just the follow through and the consistency. And so if that's been your thing, like, you can make plans for days, you can use your planner, you can write down all the things, but when it comes to actually doing what you tell yourself you're going to do, doing what the paper says, you're just like, it's 5 p.m., you come home from work, you get the kids ready for dinner, you're doing dinner, and after bedtime, you're just like, ugh, I don't want to do anything. That's what I'm talking about. That is the moment that I'm talking about right there, is where you need to actually get up and do the thing, but it's just, it feels like it's impossible, and that's totally fine. My clients have said the same thing. I used to say the same thing, but I'm telling you, it is not impossible. There's just a few mindset shifts that need to change, and I'm sure that we can work on those whenever we start Diligent Daughters Academy. So if you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to subscribe and leave a comment down below, and I will see you in next week's episode. Bye-bye.